straight ahead on CCX News.
We like to be entertaining, very entertaining.
A group of singers from Plymouth really rock. Plus, raising the age on buying tobacco in Brooklyn Center, a new ordinance is in effect. And prepping for the winter weather.
The biggest thing is just give us a lot of room.
We get advice from Golden Valley snowplow drivers. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. We may have survived Christmas without any significant weather events, but Mother Nature didn't wait long to remind us that winter is here. A storm is expected to bring 1 to 3 inches of snow, followed by freezing rain on Thursday. Reporter Eric Nelson explains how crews in Plymouth are getting ready.
We are ready. Yeah, we're ready for the snow, and we've had a couple of full call-outs already, so we're ready to go.
It's been a busy day at the Plymouth Public Works Department. Bulldozers dug into a mountain of salt and scooped it into snowplows. They are bracing for rain, snow, and ice, and a mixed bag of weather that could make roads slippery.
We are. We're monitoring the National Weather Service forecast. We're loading our trucks with salt and with salt brine.
A fleet of 18 trucks and other heavy equipment spent the morning getting mobilized to combat whatever comes down from the sky.
We want to make sure that if like the forecast said, we get that 2 to 4 overnight, that we're on it before the rush hour traffic packs it to the roadway.
If snow totals exceed 2 inches, Plymouth plow operators will spring into action and clear 320 miles of city streets, cul-de-sacs, and trails.
Our number one goal is to provide a high level of service to our residents.
The plow drivers use brine, which is a combination of salt and water. They apply this solution to the road before it snows, which causes the initial snow to melt. It's also better for the earth.
The salt is a tool that we use to try to, melt the snow and maintain a safe roadway, but we do try to be, conscious of the environment and try to use as little as possible.
Regardless of what happens, Plymouth Streets and Utilities Manager Joe Palman won't be phased. Palman just started his job last spring when he was greeted by that epic April blizzard.
It was a great 2 to 3 day short course on snow plowing, and a storm like that will really show you what you need to work on and what you're doing well.
In Plymouth, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Whether Minnesotans remember how to drive in these conditions is another question to ponder. As Delane Cleveland reports, Golden Valley snowplow drivers have a few things they'd like people to know while they're out on the roads.
Navigating through a winter wallop of snow and ice is an annual adventure for any Minnesotan who has to hit the roads. But getting from point A to point B when Old Man Winter rears his ugly head wouldn't be possible without the existence of snowplows and the people who drive them.
Our main goal is to make the roads as safe as possible while balancing the environmental impacts.
Tim Kiefer is the maintenance manager for Golden Valley's Public Works Department.
So this is one of our newer trucks. We've got a 12-foot plow.
The city has 10 trucks that can plow snow, de-ice the roads, and prevent ice from building up on those roads.
Those residential roads are our responsibility.
While residential roads may not have the same sort of traffic volume as a busy highway, there are still some things Kiefer wants people to keep in mind when they see these plows at work.
The biggest thing is just give us a lot of room. We have limited visibility. We have lots of blind spots behind us, to the sides of us, especially when we're backing up at intersections.
The trucks warn people to stay back at least 50 feet. Kiefer recommends keeping a distance of around 300 feet to ensure that his drivers have enough space.
We do a lot of backing up at intersections, so just giving us that space to do our operation.
Another problem for plow drivers are obstructions in the road.
Parked cars and garbage receptacles create a significant hazard because we're having to slow down, change our direction, we reduce our momentum, and we need to keep a certain amount of momentum.
His recommendation is to keep your trash bins out of the street if it snows on garbage day. It's one simple thing that allows the plow drivers to do their job.
If we can educate the public on giving us that added space, it'll just help us do our job better.
In Golden Valley, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
As a safety precaution, the city also asked residents not to have kids playing out in the street while they're plowing the roads. Meanwhile, in the coming months, Golden Valley plans to offer residents the opportunity to ride along with a plow driver. That way they can have a better understanding of what it takes to operate the equipment. Interfaith Outreach and Community Partners is hoping to get some last-minute donations for its biggest fundraising push of the year. For 23 years, people have slept out in boxes and tents to raise awareness about homelessness and other social issues. Last year, the group helped 429 families who were homeless. Donations from the Sleep Out will go toward emergency housing, food shelf, transportation, and child care. The goal is to strengthen families through education and employment opportunities and to get them to a place where they can thrive.
You know, a big part of the reason we are needing to raise money on the housing end in particular is because there is a real housing crisis. Most people don't realize just how few apartments or homes there are for people who aren't making a lot of money.
Interfaith is trying to raise $2.4 million by December 31st, and they are about $400,000 away from that goal. You can donate online or stop by their facility in Plymouth on the corner of Highway 101 and County Road 6. And if you're out and about shopping the after Christmas sales, you might have noticed the Salvation Army has pulled their red kettles. The bell ringing season officially ends on Christmas Eve, but the nonprofit is still asking for donations to come in before December 31st so they can help provide food, clothing, and shelter in 2019. You can donate anytime online on the Salvation Army's website. A new ordinance is now in effect in Brooklyn Center. You must now be at least 21 years of age to buy tobacco. The City Council voted in November to raise the age for buying tobacco, and they became the 16th city in Minnesota to do so. The ordinance covers cigarettes and e-cigarettes. You also must be 21 to be allowed in a tobacco store. The ordinance went into effect on December 21st. Plymouth is another city where you have to be 21 to buy tobacco. Their ordinance went into effect back in July. Still ahead on CCX News, what happened in a neighborhood near you? We take a look back at major development and redevelopment projects from 2018. Plus, the puck drops for holiday tournament hockey as the Maple Grove girls pursue a title in Edina. But first, winter weather is on its way in the next few days. It's just a matter of when it hits and how much we'll get. We'll be right back. The Northwest suburbs continue to see more and more business growth. In today's Year in Review, reporter Meredith Hackler shows us a few of the developments that have taken place in 2018.
2018 may very well have been the year of the grocery store in the Northwest Metro. Competition became more fierce. Hy-Vee opened 2 grocery stores, one in Plymouth and one in Robbinsdale.
I think it's a big deal. There hasn't been a grocery store around here since Rainbow closed, and so for a lot of people that don't drive, this is close enough where they can, kind of get here.
But that wasn't all the development that Robbinsdale saw. A new luxury apartment building called Birdtown Flats took shape, which the mayor says is just the beginning of the city's continued growth.
There's some other areas ripe for redevelopment on West Broadway. So my goal is to continue. I often meet with the smaller developers to look at various sites that just kind of see what vision they might have, whether it's commercial or residential, whatever we can do to enhance things that Robbinsdale residents want to see as far as housing options and also new businesses.
And there are other new businesses too. The Shops at Arbor Lakes and Maple Grove continues to see changes. It added the highly anticipated Portillo's, and near the shops, the Illume headquarters continues to take shape.
Really excited to have Illume joining us here. They're moving up from Bloomington. They're bringing about 130 jobs right away, have some growth plans there. They were located in 5 or 6 smaller buildings down in Bloomington in a business park, and this brings everything under one roof for them.
There's another project planned at the northeast corner of Zachary Lane and 85th Avenue in Maple Grove. That's where a former waste dump will eventually become the Arbor Lakes Corporate Center. In Brooklyn Center, Topgolf opened to much fanfare. Along with that, future development plans in that city include new apartments, a home furniture store, and a Bank of America, all planned to open in 2019.
Really changed its image, and for a good reason. The city has actually changed. It's made it a great place to be.
In Brooklyn Park, the first new hotel in 20 years opened, a Hampton Inn near Target's northern campus. Overall, the Northwest Metro has seen its fair share of business development and growth. Momentum local cities hope to continue in 2019. Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
Another development point to make in regards to 2018 is the boom in the number of storage units in our area. A new facility went up in Brooklyn Center, and there are plans in Crystal to transform the old Thriftway food store and the vacant Herzing University building both into storage units. Brooklyn Park's Acorn Mini Storage should also have 3 more storage buildings open by next summer. Many owners attribute this boom to Minnesota's aging baby boomer population. Up next, hear from some of the best singers in Plymouth coming up. But first, the Park Center girls basketball team is off to a strong start as they get set to host a holiday tournament this week. John Jacobson is in next.
While school is out of session, local high school teams are still hard at work. Most hockey and basketball teams in the area are in holiday tournaments. That includes the Maple Grove Crimson girls hockey team. Crimson meeting Stillwater at the Walser Classic in Edina. Out of the battle in the corner, it comes to Emily Herdeen for the backhand pass to Manon McMahon. She buries it. It's 1-0 Maple Grove 2 minutes into the game. Out of Crimson power play, Tristana Tater's shot is off the goalie's blocker. Chloe Corbin, though, bangs it in off the defender's skated in to make it 2-0 Crimson after 1 period. In the second, it's back to Michaela Macklett at the point. Her shot deflected in by Corbin. Maple Grove leads at 3-0 through 2 periods of play. Stillwater comes on in the third. Lexi Huber sweeps the rebound in to get the Ponies on the board. But Maple Grove wins 3-1. They'll play in the semifinals Thursday at 5 p.m. The Park Center girls basketball team is off to a solid start this season. The Pirates don't have to do any traveling for holiday play as they host a 2-day event Thursday and Friday. Here's Jay Wilcox with more on the Pirates.
There's a lot to like on Park Center's resume this season. The Pirates are 6-2 with the 2 losses coming to top 10 teams St. Michael, Albertville, and Eden Prairie. All in all, it's been a good first portion of the season.
I feel like we've been doing really good so far. The games have been going really well. We've been working hard in practices and in the games, so it's been pretty fun.
Communication on defense, it was pretty tough early in the season for our first 3 games, but honestly, overall in practice, we've learned to communicate with each other, and it's gotten better in game situations.
The Pirates like to push the pace and are averaging 75 points per game, topping 90 twice. They did lose a few key players to graduation from last season's Section 5 4A runner-up team, but they're loaded with young talent. The Pirates beat district rivals Osseo and before that Maple Grove last week.
Maple Grove has an excellent squad. They're a younger team, kind of like us, so we matched up pretty well last night. It was a good matchup. Game of runs, and thankfully we came out on top at the end.
I think it was a really big win. I think it really set the tone of like where we want to go further, like being like the top in the conference and stuff like that. But I think it was a really good win. We worked hard.
Park Center's home for the holidays, not having to deal with possible bad road conditions. The Pirates host an 8-team 2-day event where they'll face Lakeville North Thursday and Minnetonka Friday.
I feel like we're preparing ourselves pretty well. Coach is honestly definitely helping us become more disciplined, and we just got to come and show out.
What else do you do during, holiday break time? Come out, enjoy the Pirates, come see some of your other favorite teams. Funny thing, it seems like our kids play sometimes better on the road, and so this is another opportunity for us to have 2 more games at home so we can kind of get settled in.
Park Center shaping up as a top contender for the Northwest Suburban West Division title this winter. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
You can watch the Pirates' Friday night game against Minnetonka live at 7 p.m. here on CCX1 and ccxmedia.org. You can also catch the Champlin Park St. Louis Park game from that tournament at 1:30 Friday afternoon live on our website. As we come to the end of the year, it's time to look back on 2018. On a special year-end edition of Sports Jam, we feature some of our favorite spotlight stories from the last year. Here's Jason Malillo with a clip from one of those pieces.
Champlin Park senior Izzy Ashburn is a great setter. In seconds, she can assess a defense, find the holes, and more often than not, put up a set for one of her teammates to terminate.
It kind of happens natural at this point, but there's always things I'm working on with it. Seeing the other middle, knowing where I am on the court, knowing who just played the ball, who my options are in the front row. There's a lot that goes into it, but during the game, it's not necessarily what goes through my head. it's more of a natural thing at this point.
Makes it more comfortable just as a hitter because she really knows how to put the balls in the same spots, and she's really easy to communicate with for different sets, so it really makes it fun to play with her.
Ashburn started playing volleyball in 2nd grade, and she's continually improving. The kind of person who soaks up advice and guidance from teammates and coaches and puts it to use on the floor.
And you can see the rest of that story and more on our special end of the year Sports Jam. It airs this week and next during our regular Sports Jam time slots here on CCX1. And the show is available online anytime at ccxmedia.org. That's it for sports. Shannon, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Up next, the sounds of the Plymouth Rockers. That story when we come back. The Plymouth Rockers Senior Performing Chorus has been entertaining crowds since 1991. Recently, they held a special holiday concert at Plymouth City Hall, and photographer Dustin Scholl and reporter Sonia Goins give us a listen.
Sounds of holiday happiness echo through Plymouth City Hall. A few dozen members belted out their favorite holiday tunes.
We are serenading the city council because we love their support.
Putting a twist on Christmas classics is just part of the fun. For the past 9 years, David Halligan has led the 55-plus singing group.
We like to be entertaining, very entertaining.
The chorus performs all over the metro, nursing homes, assisted living, and for people who are shut in.
We do 2 major concerts a year in the spring and 1 right now during the holidays.
They sing a little bit of everything. Folk, Broadway, gospel, and golden oldies.
We've been doing this for about 28 years.
Members of the group say singing before the city council is special, a way for them to give back.
We really like what they have done for us, and we have a beautiful facility we rehearse in every Monday morning, and we just love the city of Plymouth.
The Plymouth Rockers serenaded outgoing Mayor Kelly Slavic at their last singing event. They perform 2 public concerts every year, but they also sing at 30 to 40 civic engagements every year. Always great to listen to. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here again tomorrow, starting at 4 o'clock.